The WWE Universe just witnessed pure bedlam as Jade Cargill stepped into the ring against B-Fab in what can only be described as an explosive encounter that nobody saw coming. The tension had been building for weeks, but what went down backstage between Jade and Chelsea Green was the spark that ignited this powder keg. Before we dive into every jaw-dropping moment of this chaotic night, make sure you hit that subscribe button because you won't want to miss a single update on what happens next in this unfolding drama. The night started like any other episode of WWE programming, but those who arrived early to the arena knew something was brewing. Reports from crew members indicated that voices were raised in the women's locker room area hours before the show even went live. Jade Cargill, who has been on an absolute tear since her arrival in WWE, was apparently in the middle of a heated discussion with Chelsea Green. The exact details of what sparked the confrontation remain somewhat murky, but multiple sources confirmed that it had everything to do with respect, territory, and the pecking order in the women's division. Chelsea Green, never one to back down from confrontation, allegedly made some comments about Jade's handling of backstage protocols and her rapid rise through the ranks. Jade, standing at an imposing height and carrying herself with the confidence of a champion, wasn't about to let those words slide without a response. The confrontation escalated quickly according to eyewitnesses. What started as a verbal exchange turned into a full-blown shouting match with other superstars and staff members having to step between the two women. Chelsea Green's face was flushed red as she pointed fingers and made accusations about Jade receiving preferential treatment. Jade fired back with equal intensity, reminding everyone within earshot of her accomplishments and the fact that she earned every bit of her spot on the roster. The energy in that hallway was electric, and everyone knew that this wasn't going to be resolved with a simple conversation. Security personnel were called to the scene, and producers scrambled to figure out how to handle the situation before it spiraled completely out of control. Chelsea eventually stormed off, but not before making it clear that this was far from over. Jade stood her ground, her chest heaving with adrenaline, and that's when B-Fab entered the picture. B-Fab, who has been working her way through the ranks and trying to establish herself as a legitimate competitor, saw an opportunity. Whether she was genuinely offended by something Jade said or simply saw a chance to make a name for herself by challenging one of the most talked about women in the company, she stepped forward and issued a challenge right there in the backstage area. The words came out sharp and direct, cutting through the chaos that still lingered from the Chelsea Green confrontation. Jade turned her attention to B-Fab, and for a moment, everyone thought another backstage brawl was about to erupt. Instead, Jade smiled, that predatory grin that has become her signature, and accepted the challenge without hesitation. She told B-Fab that if she wanted to make a statement, she'd have her chance in the ring that very night. The gauntlet had been thrown down, and there was no turning back. WWE officials scrambled to make the match official. There were discussions about whether it was wise to put this match together on such short notice, especially given the volatile emotions running through the building. But the decision-makers recognized the value of striking while the iron was hot. The WWE Universe thrives on authentic emotion and real conflict, and this had all the ingredients of a must-see television moment. Within minutes, the announcement was made that Jade Cargill would face B-Fab in a singles match, and the buzz throughout the arena reached fever pitch. Social media exploded with reactions as fans debated who would come out on top and whether Chelsea Green would somehow insert herself into the situation. The anticipation was suffocating as the show progressed through its earlier segments. When Jade's music hit and she made her entrance, the crowd erupted. Love her or hate her, there's no denying the presence she brings every single time she walks down that ramp. Her athletic physique and commanding aura make her impossible to ignore. She strode to the ring with purpose, her eyes locked forward, clearly still heated from everything that had transpired backstage. The intensity radiating from her was undeniable, and it was clear she was ready to take out her frustrations on whoever stood across from her. She stepped between the ropes and immediately claimed the center of the ring, raising her arms as the lights hit her perfectly. This was her moment, and she was going to make the most of it. B-Fab's entrance was equally charged but in a different way. She came out with something to prove, knowing that this was potentially the biggest opportunity of her career. The chance to defeat someone like Jade Cargill on a night when emotions were running this high could catapult her into an entirely different stratosphere within the company. She looked focused and determined, blocking out the noise and the pressure as she made her way to the ring. There was no showboating, no playing to the crowd. This was all business. As she climbed through the ropes and stood across from Jade, the size difference was apparent, but B-Fab showed no intimidation. She stared right back at the larger woman, and the referee had to step between them as they immediately got face to face. The bell rang and the match exploded into action immediately. There was no feeling out process, no cautious opening exchanges. Jade and B-Fab went right at each other with neither woman willing to give an inch. B-Fab surprised many by taking the fight directly to Jade, landing quick strikes and using her speed to avoid the power strikes that Jade was throwing. She ducked under a clothesline attempt and connected with a dropkick that actually staggered the bigger woman. The crowd reacted with surprise and excitement, sensing that this might not be the squash match some had anticipated. B-Fab followed up with another series of quick strikes, targeting Jade's legs to try and take away her base. It was smart wrestling, the kind of strategy you need when facing someone with a significant size and strength advantage. Jade absorbed the punishment for a few moments before she caught B-Fab mid-attack and simply threw her across the ring like she weighed nothing. The display of raw power drew gasps from the audience as B-Fab crashed hard into the corner. Jade stalked forward, and you could see the switch had been flipped. The playful confidence was gone, replaced by pure aggression. She pulled B-Fab out of the corner and launched her with a devastating suplex that rattled the ring. The sound of the impact echoed throughout the arena, and it was clear that Jade was not in a mood to play games. She pulled B-Fab up again, barely giving her time to recover, and delivered another punishing move that showcased her incredible strength. B-Fab was in serious trouble, and everyone watching knew it. But B-Fab showed heart. Despite being thoroughly outmatched in terms of power, she refused to stay down. Every time Jade thought she had the match put away, B-Fab found a way to kick out or create some separation. She rolled out of the ring at one point to catch her breath, and Jade followed her without hesitation. The action spilled to the outside, and that's when things got even more chaotic. Chelsea Green's music hit unexpectedly, and she stormed down the ramp with a microphone in hand. She started yelling at Jade, bringing up everything from their backstage confrontation and adding new insults on top of it. The distraction worked exactly as intended. Jade turned her attention away from B-Fab and started moving toward Chelsea, who wisely stayed at a safe distance near the barricade. The referee was yelling for everyone to get back in the ring while simultaneously counting. B-Fab, showing ring awareness, slid back into the ring and tried to recover. Jade was torn between finishing her original opponent and dealing with Chelsea, who continued to run her mouth from the safety of the ringside area. Finally, Jade decided to ignore Chelsea and focus on the match, sliding back into the ring just before the count reached 10. But the damage had been done. The brief respite had given B-Fab a chance to recover, and she came at Jade with renewed energy. She connected with a surprising offensive flurry, landing a combination that actually dropped Jade to one knee. The crowd was on their feet, completely invested in what they were watching. B-Fab went for a high-risk move, climbing to the top rope in an attempt to hit something spectacular that might put Jade away. But experience and instinct kicked in for Jade. As B-Fab launched herself through the air, Jade caught her in mid-flight, adjusting her grip in one smooth motion and transitioning into her devastating finishing maneuver. The impact was sickening in the best possible way, and when Jade hooked the leg for the pin, there was no doubt about the outcome. The referee counted to 3, and Jade's music hit as she stood victorious. But the real story was just beginning. Chelsea Green rushed the ring immediately after the match ended. She attacked Jade from behind, and the two women began brawling in the center of the ring. Referees and officials poured out from the back trying to separate them, but both women were throwing wild punches and trying to get at each other. The crowd was going absolutely crazy as the chaos unfolded. Every time officials managed to pull them apart, one or both would break free and go right back at it. The anger was genuine, the emotion was real, and the WWE Universe was eating up every second of it. Finally, enough bodies got between them to create some real separation, but both women were screaming at each other as they were forced to opposite sides of the ring and eventually up the ramp. The aftermath of this night is going to have serious repercussions for the women's division. Jade Cargill proved once again that she's a force to be reckoned with in the ring, dispatching B-Fab despite the various distractions and interruptions. But the unresolved issues with Chelsea Green are clearly not going away. If anything, they've intensified to a point where WWE management is going to have to address this situation directly. The question now becomes what form that resolution takes. Will we see these two women face each other in a sanctioned match? Will there be some kind of stipulation added to ensure the conflict gets settled properly? The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes this so compelling. Social media went into overdrive as the show went off the air. Fans were sharing clips, creating memes, and debating every aspect of what they had witnessed. Many praised B-Fab for her performance despite the loss, noting that she held her own far better than anyone expected and showed the kind of heart that wins over audiences. Others focused on the Chelsea Green aspect, with some fans fully supporting her stance and others believing she crossed a line. Jade Cargill's name was trending within minutes, with the overwhelming sentiment being that she continues to prove why she deserves to be positioned at the top of the division. Her combination of look, presence, and in-ring ability makes her one of the most complete packages in all of professional wrestling right now. Behind the scenes, there are reports that meetings were held immediately after the show to discuss how to move forward with this storyline. The organic nature of the initial backstage confrontation gave WWE creative something authentic to work with, and they're determined not to waste this opportunity. There's talk of building toward a major match at an upcoming premium live event, possibly with some kind of grudge match stipulation that allows both women to really cut loose. The key is maintaining the intensity and emotion that made this angle so captivating in the first place. If WWE can bottle that lightning and stretch it out over several weeks or even months, they could have something truly special on their hands. The women's division has been incredibly strong lately, with multiple compelling storylines running simultaneously. This particular conflict adds another layer to an already stacked deck. You have championship pursuits happening, tag team dynamics shifting, and now this deeply personal rivalry that feels different from everything else going on. The variety in storytelling approaches keeps things fresh and gives different performers chances to shine in different ways. Jade Cargill's path since arriving in WWE has been carefully managed, with each step building on the previous one. This situation with Chelsea Green represents a new challenge, one that's more personal and less about championships or accolades. It's about pride, respect, and establishing dominance within the locker room hierarchy. Looking ahead to the next few weeks, expect this situation to escalate further. Neither Jade nor Chelsea seems like the type to let things cool down naturally. If anything, every interaction they have is likely to add fuel to an already raging fire. B-Fab's role in all of this remains to be seen. She could potentially align herself with one side or the other, or she might continue on her own path trying to prove that her performance against Jade was no fluke. The various directions this could go are part of what makes it so intriguing. WWE has multiple options available, and the flexibility to adapt based on crowd reactions and what works best from a storytelling perspective. The physical intensity displayed throughout this entire situation has been noteworthy. From the backstage confrontation to the match itself to the post-match brawl, everything has felt real and urgent. That sense of authenticity is what connects with audiences and creates moments that people remember long after the show ends. When performers are genuinely invested in what they're doing, it shows in every movement, every expression, and every word they speak. Jade Cargill has that investment right now, as does Chelsea Green. They're both committed to making this as compelling as possible, and their efforts are absolutely paying off. If you've made it this far, you clearly care about what's happening in WWE and specifically in the women's division. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on every twist and turn of this ongoing saga. The next chapter is coming soon, and based on everything we've seen so far, it's going to be unmissable. Jade Cargill, Chelsea Green, and B-Fab have given us a night of pure chaos and entertainment, and the fallout from these events will shape the division for months to come. This is exactly why we watch professional wrestling, for those moments that grab you and refuse to let go, for the conflicts that feel real and matter, and for the performers who give everything they have to tell these stories. The WWE Universe witnessed something special, and the best part is that this is only the beginning of what promises to be an incredible journey.